In our series, Ask for the Old Paths, we had to slay some sacred cows that had been in the church, hurting the church, bringing the church into defeat and sometimes worse. And one of those was the any minute secret rapture, which we spent some time on. Now we're going after the sinner's prayer. Now, hear me out. The sinner's prayer is a little formulaic prayer that is done every Sunday in thousands of evangelical churches across America, where a candidate for salvation is instructed to pray a prayer after the pastor or the leader, and then after they pray the prayer, that pastor or leader pronounces them saved and assures them of their salvation. What's the problem? Well, Leonard Ravenhill, the late great Leonard Ravenhill, said the sinner's prayer has sent more people to hell than all the bars in America. Evangelist Paul Washer, if there's anything I've declared war on, it's the sinner's prayer. It has sent more people to hell than anything else on the face of the earth. He goes on, the sinner's prayer method of evangelism has done more to hurt this country than every heresy introduced by every cult combined. Now, why are they so harsh in these pronouncements? And I'm going to go ahead and give you my version. I believe that our modern methods of evangelism have filled our American churches with counterfeit converts who are resting in a false assurance of salvation because of faith in a prayer that has no basis in the Bible. Our modern methods of evangelism have filled our American churches with counterfeit converts, resting in a false assurance of salvation because of faith in a prayer that has no basis in the Bible. Now, friends, our country's in a mess, and I believe it's because the church is in a mess. I don't believe we can fix the country until we fix the church. And we have to pull no punches about what it means to really become a Christian. And many who profess the faith today in our churches are false professors. Countless Christians are counterfeits, and our country is in decline. James Montgomery Boyce said, "Why is today's church so weak? Why are we able to claim so many church members and yet have less and less impact in our culture? Why are so many Christians indistinguishable from the world? Is it not that many are calling people Christians who are still unregenerate? Is it not that many are settling for a form of godliness but denying its power?" Beloved, this is a huge problem. It's a sacred cow that needs to be killed. And the sad truth is our country is crawling with counterfeit Christians. Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire, which I recommend his website, the Daily Wire with Matt Walsh, says over 80% of the people in this country claim to be Christian. But how many in the end will find out the hard way that their claims were false? Our culture seems perfectly designed to lead us into this sort of false faith because it's dangerously easy to be considered a Christian by modern standards. Popular standard. What are the popular standards? Well, one popular standard is, have you prayed the sinner's prayer? So what's wrong with it? Now, we'll get into this more next time, but I'm going to go ahead and give you 6 things that are wrong with it. Number 1, it's not in the Bible. Number 2, it reduces the gospel to a one-time decision. Number 3, it promotes what we call easy believism. Number 4, it neglects the necessity of repentance. Number 5, it produces a false peace in those who believed that the prayer saved them. And number 6, it tempts the leaders to sin when they give a false assurance of salvation to the candidates. Now, this is deep and heavy, and I understand it's upsetting some of you, But, beloved, today we're going to have to see a revival and a reform in the church. And the only way to do it is to root out what's wrong and fix it. And these sacred cows need to die. We'll continue next time with more on this. But until we do, remember that you're not saved because you said a prayer. Don't put your faith in a prayer that you prayed years ago when your life does not reflect the fruits of the Spirit. And there's been no change in your life. Don't be a counterfeit convert. Don't be a counterfeit Christian. Your very soul depends on this one. I'll have more for you next time.